Good evening. It is TVB9, and I'm here today to kind of kill two birds with one stone. Because I'm going to make, these kind of videos I usually do, right? Where I show you guys some gameplay. Like, this Minecraft gameplay you guys are watching right now, my boy Darth Deadpool and I spent a lot of time in this world, fighting Enderman and spending time in the Nether, making Ender Eyes and building a strip mine underground, making some diamonds. So yeah, we've done a lot of progress in this world off screen. We're gonna kill the Ender Dragon at some point for you guys. I'm very excited for that. But yeah, I make one of these gameplay videos with some commentary over it, ranking all the movies I saw a certain month from worst to best. But I sort of switched up that formula now. Now I'm doing movies I saw per season from worst to best. So yeah. Last time I made one of these videos, I took all the films from December, January, and February. All the winter months, from worst to best. So I'm gonna do something with with all the spring months, April and March. I don't consider May as a spring month because May is like officially the start of the summer movie season where we get all the blockbusters and all the indie films as well. So yeah, I try to leave those films separate from May. May is like May. June, July, and August are the summer months, if you ask me. That's just the way I do things, at least. And honestly, like, April and March are kind of becoming summer blockbuster months themselves, in all honesty, with all the superhero movies that we get in these 2 months. And not just with Endgame, but, like, we had Infinity War during April as well. And also, I wanted to make a spoiler talk for Endgame, because I did a spoiler talk for Infinity War last year, so I might as well do a spoiler talk for Endgame, because there's a lot of things to say about Endgame, and it's very hard to talk about Endgame without spoiling it. Like, my review that I made Thursday night, it was very hard for me not to spoiler that movie for you guys. Like, trust me when I say that, because there's a lot that I want to discuss. And, here's your first spoiler alert. That's my pick for the best movie of the spring season of 2019. Oh no. If you're surprised by that, well, tough shit. But yeah, let's just talk about the other 7 films that I saw that this past March and April. Just rank those from worst to best. Sadly, I cannot include Fighting with My Family on this list because I saw that movie over spring break. I was at my uncle's house in Denver. I couldn't really, I forgot my laptop charger at my friend's house by accident, so I couldn't, review that movie for you guys, sadly. But up until Endgame, honestly, it was my pick for best movie of 2019, so far. It was a very heartfelt and, great, well done movie. It was a WWE movie of all things. And it was really good. How does it not blow you away? But anyway, let's discuss the worst movie I saw this past spring, and that is Wonder Park. Another film that I did not get a chance to review because I saw it over spring break. This movie, guys, is not terrible. I wouldn't say I hated it necessarily. It's just so bland. It's the epitome of a kids movie, not a family movie, a kids movie, a movie that's targeted just for kids. This still doesn't have a director, for God's sake. Nickelodeon, I heard that they're making this movie as an introduction to a TV show they want to start. I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm not entirely sure how they do that thing over Nickelodeon Studios. Is it they make the movie first and then release a TV show? Or do they I don't know. Do they plan out the movie and the TV show first, then just release the movie and then release the TV show? Or it's oh, let's make a movie. Oh wow, the movie made us a load of money. Let's make a TV show of it. Is that how it works? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure how well this film did at the box office. I assume it didn't make bank. Because this movie, guys, the animation, it's fine, it's bright and it's colorful. I didn't have a problem looking at the movie. It's just the story is very cliche and it's just forgettable. The characters are bland. I don't know. There's way too much seen it before feel, and the pacing is way too fast. This movie goes at at a mile a minute, and I'm just whoa, guys, just slow down, take a breath. I feel like this movie would have been better if it had a longer runtime. That would have fixed a lot of its problems. But yep, there's my choice for the worst spring movie of this year. I mean, if you guys saw it, so I feel bad for the parents who were dragged to the theaters by their kids to see this movie. Yeah. So the second worst movie that I saw this spring is Dumbo. You know, I'm officially done with live action Disney remakes. Like, I have not seen most of them. I mean, I was pleasantly surprised by The Jungle Book back in 2016, but honestly, guys, the only reason I was like a junior in high school at the time. The only reason why I decided to see Jungle Book is because I wanted to see a movie that weekend. You know, like what I usually do. Because that just junior year of high school is when I placed the ritual that I had every weekend. I go to the movie theaters, but like there was nothing else that came out weekend. That's why I saw Jungle Book, and guess what? I enjoyed it. And I also enjoyed Christopher Robin that came out last year, you know, in August. Because I don't see Christopher Robin as a remake. I'd see it more as like a spin-off. You know, Pooh Bear is just a supporting character. The story is Christopher Robin's. You know, that's what I enjoyed about it. But yeah, I have not seen Beauty and the Beast or Cinderella or... Jeez, what other remakes have they made? Or, yeah, like, or Maleficent. Or, I heard that another Maleficent movie is coming out this October. Maybe I'll see it, maybe I won't, we'll see. But yeah, I've just been skipping these. And after seeing Dumbo, I'm just like, I'm not even going to bother with Aladdin or Lion King. I mean, the Lion King trailer the film looks, like, pretty. You know, the special effects, I guess. And, I don't know, just like, Dumbo was, some people actually like this movie. And if you like the movie, that's fine. You're entitled to your own opinion. That's, you know, great. You enjoy the movie, and I'm happy for you. But me, it was just boring. Like, really boring. Colin Farrell, I mean, I like Colin Farrell. He's a good actor and all. I mean, Eva Green's one of my favorite actresses. I mean, none of the characters are memorable at all. I mean, the CGI for Dumbo is good. But, like, overall, this movie just completely turds on the original. The original Dumbo from 1941, I think, is a classic. Like, there's so much greatness in that movie. Because, again, it was, like, old school Disney. Like, that was, you know, one of the films that defined them. And it's like, you feel so bad for Dumbo. Because, like, he's harassed like all the time for his giant ears, and he gets ripped away from his mother, the only person who really cared about him, and he forms a reluctant friendship with this mouse. There's no Timothy Mouse in this movie. He has a cameo for like 5 seconds, and he doesn't say a darn thing. So we're just left with all these boring ass human characters it was just so uninteresting. Oh my goodness. You know, Tim Burton, I mean, Tim Burton's a great director and all. This film like has terrific visuals, but like again, crapping on the original, they ruined the pink elephant scene. Where, you know, the scene where Dumbo and Timothy like drink loads of champagne thinking it's water in the original. They get drunk and they start hallucinating pink elephants. Yeah, that was so creepy but cool at the same time. In the baby mind scene, the original Dumbo, honestly has me on the verge of tears every time I watch it. But yeah, they completely butchered that as well. And despite being dull and forgettable, it still was pacing as fast as well, especially the first half of it. And yeah, honestly, you guys, like I said, I might skip Aladdin and Lion King. The only two reasons I see myself watching The Lion King or Aladdin is if they get like loads of praise and it's just like, and they're like really well acclaimed from the critics or whatever, or they're really dreaded and panned by the critics. Then I'll just see it just to see how bad it is. Yeah, I'll do that for you guys as well. But yeah, Dumbo, I mean, I know it's gotten divided opinions. I'm on the side of it saying it's not a good movie. If you're on the side of it where you think it is a good movie, great. Again, this whole list of movies I saw this past spring is based completely off of my opinion and from what I've seen. If you disagree, that's completely fine. Just don't rip me to shreds in the comments. Respect my views and I'll respect yours. Are we good? Yeah, good. All right. So the third worst film of the spring season of this year, I guess you could say, because I mean this is not a bad movie. I enjoyed watching this, and I overall have good things to say about it, and that is Pet Sematary. I didn't even know that this movie was a remake until a few days before watching. I'm just wondering, like, why do studios want to remake all of the Stephen King classics? Like, I don't know. I mean, The Shining is a masterpiece, but if that movie gets a remake, oh my goodness, I will be pissed. Like, don't get me wrong, Pet Sematary has its problems, but honestly, I liked it. It succeeded in freaking me out in a few scenes. Like, there was that constant sense of, dread and, like, tension. Like, oh, something could just go wrong at any moment. And like, the kids with the freaking animal masks and the pets being buried and the whole themes of what happens after you die, that was all cool. And yeah, the performances were solid as well. And yeah, it got me even more excited for It Chapter 2. There even is a dairy reference. Like, there's like one scene, he's driving down the road and you see a sign that is pointing to dairy in this direction. I wonder, oh my goodness, a Stephen King, like, Avengers movie, that would be hilarious. I know it's not going to happen. If it does happen, then the producers are really desperate. But still, that's just an idea that popped into my head just now. But yeah, Pet Sematary, not as good as the other Stephen King films that we've gotten in the past few years, but overall, I'd recommend seeing it. And the next one I want to discuss is Captain Marvel. You know, this movie got very divided opinions from a lot of Marvel fans. Me, I liked it. I will say there is some wasted potential in Captain Marvel, because I think chronologically speaking, this is the second MCU film. The first being Captain America, the First Avenger, which was set during World War II. This movie's like set in the 90s, I believe. And you see Nick Fury, younger, still having both his eyes, and Phil Coulson before he was killed by Loki in the Avengers, and just some things that could be explained and fleshed out more. Yeah, there's not so much of that. Like, Phil Coulson's only on screen for like 3 minutes, and the way Samuel L. Jackson loses his eye in that movie, it's Nick Fury. I don't want to spoil it for those of you who haven't seen Captain Marvel, but like, I was like, really? Of all the ways he could lose his eye, that's how he lost his eye? Like, seriously? He even talks about Winter Soldier. Oh, last time I trusted someone, I lost an eye. Trusted who? Like, what situation did you put yourself in? What battle scene was it? But nope, just a stupid thing happened, and I was kind of turned off by that. But I love Brie Larson. She's one of my favorite actresses, though. I don't love her now as much as I used to, because I hear that just seeing Captain Marvel and Endgame, and the cast, the other cast members of the Marvel movies, they do not have nice things to say about Brie Larson. She came off as this very arrogant and sort of self-righteous, and kind of had to stick up her ass the entire time while being on set, apparently. I don't know the secret life of the celebrities. She's a great actress. I believe in a separation of the art from the artist. But yeah, Captain Marvel, it's like, I love the themes surrounding it, and the Skrull, I think that's what the aliens' names are. They're one of the most interesting characters that we got in that movie. Honestly, they were more interesting than Captain Marvel herself, if you ask me. And I think it's great that we finally have a solo, like, MCU female lead. That, for once, we finally got that. Like, DC had the right to say that. Like, finally, DCEU has something you can put over the MCU. It's like, Wonder Woman was released in 2017, and that had a female lead before Marvel did, despite the DCEU being 5 years younger than the MCU, technically speaking. But, yeah, like, this movie, the storytelling's fine, and the actors were great. Visual special effects were sweet, and there's some really funny moments as well, especially from that little kitty that's running around the entire time. And yeah, I'd recommend seeing it. So, the second half of this film, I could say all the remaining 4 films, the remaining half of this list, are all fantastic movies. I really enjoyed watching all of these. And I think the first one we should be discussing, the 4th best film of the spring season is Us. Another film that I saw over spring break that I didn't get the chance to review, because the day my friend Mark and I saw this movie, like, you've seen Mark in a lot of other videos, we went to Mexico together for spring break, and we saw this movie on 2 hours of sleep. Like, our last night in Mexico, we were just hanging out, went to a few bars and whatnot, and then we went back to our hotel room, and basically had a glorified power nap before I woke up at like 4:30 or 3:30 in the morning to, take a taxi all the way to the airport and then just fly back to Denver. And yeah, just sleep on the entire airplane. I think by the time we got back to Denver, it was like 10 a.m. in Colorado time or something like that. And I took a bus back to, Fort Collins. And yeah, the rest, we were just like, what are we going to do for the rest of the day? Because the dorms wouldn't open up until the next day on Sunday. So I was like, oh, let's just see Us then. And I was like, sweet, yeah, let's do it. And yeah, we saw Us, and guys, even though I slept through parts of it, like, Mark was even sleeper than I am, the poor guy. Well, yeah, this film is great. Like, it really succeeded in getting under my skin, which says a lot, because I have a pretty thick skin. It takes a lot to, like, freak me out at movies, like horror movies. It takes a lot to scare me. This movie succeeded in scaring me. Like, Lupita Nyong'o's, like, demented second half in that movie, like, the scene where she's talking, and that raspy voice was like, oh my goodness, what am I watching? It's just, Jordan Peele, his career has just grown so much in the past 2 years. Like, he started off doing comedy skits with Key and Peele on YouTube. Then next thing you know, in 2017, he's making a horror comedy film called Get Out, which received loads of Oscar nominations, including Best Picture, and even walked away with an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay. And it completely deserved it as well. So yeah, I did have high expectations for Us going in. And Us is, while I do think Us is scarier than Get Out, I still think Get Out is the better movie because Get Out was funnier than Us. Like, Us is a funny movie as well. Like, Us has some humorous moments and all. But I think Get Out's social commentary was, a lot more on point, and the characters are much more memorable as well. Especially Laurel Howery in that movie, oh my gosh, she was hilarious. But yeah, Us is very, like, on its own terms, Us is fantastic. Like, totally see it. It challenges a lot of norms that we've expected out of horror movies. Like, most horror movies, especially like in the 90s, have a mostly white cast with like a token black character that gets killed off, classic cliche, oh, the black guy always dies. No, this movie, it's the other way around. It's a mostly black cast with a few token white characters, and they get brutally killed off in the middle of the movie as well. Just the whole like suspense and the themes that happen throughout this movie is just so like unnerving. And I'm watching it, it's like, ooh, I want to watch this, but I don't want to watch it at the same time. Yeah, Us has done a brilliant job at doing so. And since I was rather sleepy while watching it, I should give this film a second watch. I haven't given Get Out a second watch yet either. Okay, I need to stop comparing this movie to Get Out because they're two totally different movies, but still. Us is totally a film I would recommend seeing it. Like, one of my friends like told me that he saw it like last week, and I was like, I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought it would. My expectations were too high. Yeah, I mean, I didn't have my expectations that high for it, but I still can say, like, this is a great film that you guys should totally check out. And the next film that I wish to discuss, this is the third best film, I think it is, unless I'm goofing up. And, oh, yeah, the third best film of this spring season is Missing Link. This film, I hear it's underperforming at the box office like all the other Laika films, or most of them at least. And that's really unfair. Like, this and Kubo and the Two Strings are like the two movies, like, I'm going to see everything that Laika puts out now because they are, in a day and age where animation companies are so dominated by computer animation, it's really great to see that someone is consistently making, like, a more, I want to say traditional animation because, that's hand-drawn, but, like, stop motion, especially, stop motion is, like, the hardest animation to do, I believe, because, like, you're working with clay figures and one wrong move, the whole movie just looks stupid, but the amount of detail that goes in these movies, the claymation and the green screens and all that stuff is so, like, impressive. It's so smooth and the characters feel so alive. Like, you just want to, like, reach out to the screen and just pet their clay-covered faces. Like, yeah, Hugh Jackman, Zach Galifianakis, and Zoe Saldana, their voice cast in this movie, like, they'll work so well together. And, like, I absolutely adored the Mr. Link, or Susan, I guess his name is, with the Bigfoot, and they're traveling around the world to get him reunited with his brethren, and, like, they're being hunted in the process. This film gets surprisingly dark for, like, an animated family film, if you ask me. But that's what makes it special in another sense as well. And yeah, I really hope this film, like, gets the recognition it deserves, which, from what I'm hearing, it hasn't been. That's very unfair, because this film totally deserves, more praise. Like the company as a whole, just people tend to neglect, stop motion. That's really not fair, because it's an art form. Like, animation is art, guys, and you really need to appreciate that. Is it better than How to Train Your Dragon 3? I still need to think about that one. Like, I'm not entirely sure what I think is the best animated movie of 2019 as of now, but, we still got, like, an entire, like, summer and fall's worth of animated movies to plow through, so we'll see what happens. Okay, the second best film of this spring season. Ironically, the top two are, comic book movies. And the second best film of this, spring season is Shazam. Oh my goodness, Shazam! Like, it just Shazammed into my heart. This movie is the second best DCEU film, hands down. First being Wonder Woman, if you ask me. Wonder Woman is a masterpiece. Like, Patty Jenkins, thank you so much for, nailing that movie with your direction. But yeah, I can finally say that there is another DC film that I can say is a masterpiece aside from the Dark Knight trilogy and Wonder Woman. Like, yeah, because this film, Zachary Levi, when I see Zachary Levi, I see Shazam or Captain Marvel. There's a lot of Captain Marvels in, the comic book, like, realm for whatever reason. I don't know why. But yeah, like, and just like how when I see Gal Gadot, I see Wonder Woman. And when I see Jason Momoa, I see Aquaman. Like, the performances in this movie are so good. Like, Zachary Levi, yeah, he's, the kid says Shazam and grows this grown-ass man who punches the hell out of guys. But yeah, he still, like, feels and sounds like a kid. He nails that performance so well. It's like, oh, hey, what's up? I'm a superhero. That hot lady at the 7-Eleven that they go to. And, like, that totally sounds like what a teenager or like a kid would say if he just suddenly got superpowers. And just the things that happen, like the themes about family in this movie, because especially they're foster kids, even though I'm not a foster child myself, I was raised by my biological parents, like I still related to this movie to an extent. Because I feel like I know what it's like to be shut out by others and a lot of other things like that. And, the friends that he makes and the people that he lives with in the foster home and loads of other things happen. It's like the villains in the DCU have been very lackluster, if you ask me, including the one this film had. I don't even remember his name. He's played by, like, freaking no, whatever the dude's name is, the bald guy with the freaking cyborg eye. Yeah, all the villains in DCU films have not been that great. The only villain from the DCU that I like is Black Manta from Aquaman, but he's only a supporting villain. Like, Ocean Master is the main villain in that movie, which I hope that Black Manta comes back in future DC installments. I don't even know what the future of the DCU is anymore, because Joker's not being incorporated in DCU for all I know. And, yeah, I want to say Wonder Woman 1984 is still happening next year. I hope it does, at least. And Green Lantern Corps is still happening as well. I would like to see another Justice League movie, because the Justice League movie we got back in 2017, it just felt like an appetizer. Well, they were trying to hint at another Justice League movie that's going to be, like, the main course. With even more heroes and even more villains. Like, I hope that happens at least. But yeah, for what Shazam is, though, it was so, like, it was hands down the funniest DC film I've ever seen. The humor was so on point, and it did not take itself too seriously, which more superhero movies need to do now, because they try too hard to be gritty, and it's just not good for the movie. But yeah, Shazam, guys, really check this one out. Especially if you haven't been pleased with the DC films in recent years, you're especially gonna like this movie, because you'll walk away with a grin in your face. Believe me when I say that. Okay, so like I said earlier, Endgame is my pick for the best movie of 2019. And the rest of this video is going to be the spoiler talk. Now we're going to discuss, the spoiler-heavy topics on Endgame. So, if you have not seen Endgame, if you care about, if you've seen Endgame, or if you just don't care about spoilers, keep watching. Otherwise, I would suggest you just stop watching this video right now. Get out of full screen, comment, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Just, do your things on your way out and just, click off this video, because we're going to talk about spoilers. So if you have seen Endgame and want to hear my, spoiler feelings about this film, stick around. Otherwise, yeah, I was just clicking away. So yeah, 3, 2, 1, spoiler time. All right. I was not expecting time travel to have this big of an impact on the entire movie. I wasn't surprised that it was, because, everyone was, half the human population was Thanos snapped out of existence in Infinity War. They gotta bring everyone back somehow. How else are you gonna do it without time travel? And, I knew that Ant-Man was gonna play an integral part to this movie. After seeing him in Ant-Man and the Wasp and how he wasn't in Infinity War, it's the post-credit scene for Ant-Man and the Wasp, he goes to the quantum realm, and Dr. Payne and, the Wasp and other people are just outside keeping tabs on him, but he goes there and is guys, I'm in. Guys, hello? And he cuts back to them, and you just see their ashes just flutter away, and I was the whole theater in Ant-Man and the Wasp was what the hell just happened? Oh my goodness. So yeah, but I think it's honestly comical how that random rat like was futzing with the quantum realm like control buttons, and that's how Ant-Man got back into the real world. As like 5 years later, oh, we're here again. And it was like, oh, for him it was 5 hours, but for everyone else it was 5 years, which is crazy because the physics in the quantum realm, it's obviously time's not as big of a deal as it is in this one. So yeah, I really thought Ant-Man was utilized well in Endgame. What the hell? Everyone was utilized well in Endgame. Even Captain Marvel, despite people saying, I guess the Russo brothers knew that Captain Marvel was really just used as a plot device, so that's why she didn't get a whole lot of screen time. But I loved how she rescued, Iron Man and Nebula in the beginning of the movie, brought back to Earth, and you see Tony Stark's reunion with Captain America, and just the whole tension between the two, because this is their first time being on screen together since Civil War. And last time I saw each other, they were beating the hell out of each other because of disagreements. But geez, it's just seeing them together like that was, oh my gosh, that was crazy. And how Iron Man's just so done with superhero stuff. And yeah, then they decide to the surviving Avengers, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, Hawkeye. Oh my, I almost forgot to talk about Hawkeye for a minute. Yeah, I knew it. In the beginning of the movie, Hawkeye is teaching his daughter how to fire a bow and arrow. And next thing you know, his children and his wife just vanish. They just disintegrate. And he's just like, oh no, it's time to get back in business. Oh, actually, no, he did not come back to kill Thanos with them. No, that was, Black Widow, Captain America, Hulk, Thor, Rocket, Nebula, Captain Marvel, and other people as well. And yeah, I was really surprised that within the first 10 to 20 minutes of the movie, they just found Thanos on the planet he was at. Thanos has been living by himself for the past 3 weeks on this planet, just farming, I guess. And he destroys the Infinity Stones with the Gauntlet and nearly kills him. The visual effects of this movie, I think this has been the best looking Marvel movie we've ever had, because especially the way that Thanos' face looked, it was so well done. The CGI, no, he was all CGI. There weren't any practical effects involved in Thanos' motion capture with Josh Brolin, but still he looked so good. The way half his face is burnt, it's yeah, I destroyed the Infinity Stones and it nearly killed me. And I was really surprised when Thor just chopped his head off. For a PG-13 rating, that was pretty graphic, which is a bonus if you ask me. But you see Nebula, it's despite Nebula having all this resentment towards her father Thanos, she still cares for him in the back of her mind, I feel like. And you really see that. And I've only seen the movie once, in the theaters. I know a lot of people just could be like, oh, I'm gonna see it 5 times in theaters. Me, nah, I'd just wait for it to come out on DVD to watch it a second time. Yeah, because hashtag broke college student life. Ain't that right, Byron?
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, after Thor just killed Thanos and just rickety wrecked him, I was like, what are they gonna do for the rest of the movie? Because that's not gonna bring everyone else back. That's not gonna bring things back to the way they once were if you can even get back to that in the first place. So then I was not expecting a time jump. I was expecting time travel or something to do with quantum physics or whatever. But I was not expecting a time jump like what they did in The Walking Dead, between in the middle of season 9, for example. But they did, 5 years later, Captain America is giving a therapy talk with, group therapy guys, and Ant-Man gets a rat snapped out of the quantum realm, and he's just like, what the hell has happened? And yeah, he finds Black Widow and War Machine, and he's just like, oh, what happened? And he was so funny too. He was like, oh, is that anyone's sandwich? I'm starving. And just eats the sandwich right there. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry. That must have been a long 5 years for you. And he was like, oh, for you guys it's 5 years. For me it was 5 hours. And yeah, you see the desperation in Ant-Man's eyes, which was, Paul Rudd. You look at all the Marvel actors. When I see Paul Rudd, I see Ant-Man. I can't really say I feel the same way towards Brie Larson with Captain Marvel. Overall, I still think Brie Larson makes a great Captain Marvel, but it's when I see Brie Larson, I still see Brie Larson for freaking everything else that she's been in. And yeah, it was funny because when Thor's wants to test if if Captain Marvel's really worthy for the Avengers. You saw this in the trailer. He grabs the hand, he like draws the hammer close to him, and it's just like, I like this one. And you see the time jump, what it does, all different characters. Hulk is found a happy like middle ground between his human form and his monster form. It's like, yeah, he's the Hulk, but he's not as big, and he can still talk and act normally without getting pissed and beating the crap out of everything. And Thor just lets himself go as the king of New Asgard. Oh my gosh, that scene was hilarious. He and all the characters we saw in Thor Ragnarok, like Valkyrie and those two like funny alien guys. I forget the one's name, but he's got a cute little accent, and they're just playing Fortnite. Freaking Fortnite makes an appearance, even in the MCU, even in Endgame, the film that we've just been waiting for a long ass time. Fortnite makes an appearance in Endgame of all movies, and it's like, Thor, all he does now is just eat pizza and drink beer and, just hang out in New Asgard. And, yeah, just do his thing. And it takes a lot to convince him. But, of course, Rocket just says, there's beer on the ship. We can, you can drink more beer along the way as we bring everyone else back. So then they go back in time. It was, there was great nostalgic moments. And you even get, like, Hulk even meets the Ancient One. I was not expecting the Ancient One to be in this movie. And, this Endgame was full of surprises, guys. That's another one of the things I really enjoyed about it. And, the Ancient One, you haven't really seen, like, what she's been up to in the past, like, this whole time since, freaking Doctor Strange. But, yeah, she reappears. And, yeah, like, the New York scene, like, the New York battle scene at the end of the first Avengers film is honestly one of my favorite action scenes in cinematic history. Like, oh my gosh, that the Joss Whedon's direction, that whole scene with the visuals and all the heroes assembling and just beating the hell out of everything. Yeah, that was honestly, as much as I loved the final battle at the end of Endgame, I still pick that as my favorite action scene in the MCU. With the airport scene in Civil War being up there as well. I will say that too. But yeah, it's nostalgic because you see the characters capture Loki, and Loki's like, I'll have that drink now, as he's being captured. And they're trying to steal a scepter, and you see Captain America fight Captain America, the past self. And what he does to get at that little skirmish is by saying, Bucky's alive. Wait, what? Kabang! And yeah, it just gets out of there. Oh, the little things. There's so many little humorous moments. And they mess up, and things go poorly. And Nebula and, so much happens in this movie. And War Machine go to, the place, and they meet Star-Lord, knock him out, get the Infinity Stone. But, like, it was a clever plot twist that Nebula, the present Nebula gets captured by past Nebula, who's still on Thanos' side, and sort of like hijacks the whole mission. Oh, geez, that was very that was shocking. And when I realized that, I was just like, oh no, I do not like where this is heading. Nebula's gonna wreck all of them, which of course didn't happen. She still goes back, and you see Gamora, and I'm seeing how the Endgame ends with, Thor and the rest of the Guardians of the Galaxy flying off. It's like, Gamora's not with them, so I assume that she's still trapped in the Soul Stone. So the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie, assuming that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is still happening since, James Gunn is back on board with the MCU, I'm just really curious to see how they're going to bring her back. And, the Soul Stone scene where Hawkeye, it's just really weird to see, what Hawkeye's been up to in the past 5 years. Honestly, that would make a really interesting movie in itself. When Hawkeye loses his family, he becomes basically like a warlord, working on the black market with his katana, just slicing up bad guys across his path. So that even though the Tokyo scene is brief, it was still very well choreographed when he sword fights that one dude and puts him down. And of course, Black Widow comes and convinces him, "Hey, we gotta save the world." They go to the place where Red Skull has been hiding. It's like, yeah, a soul for a stone, yada yada yada. And you think for a minute, because after everything that Hawkeye and Black Widow have been through together, they're basically brother and sister at this point. And just seeing them fight, be like, oh no, I'm gonna end up sacrificing you for the Soul Stone. And just, they start clashing with their weapons, and then they're on the cliff. And it's like, Natasha, don't let go. And yet, Natasha lets go anyway. It's like, oh my goodness. They just killed Black Widow. That honestly hit me even more than Gamora's death in Infinity War. And that says a lot, because Gamora's death in Infinity War, when Thanos sacrifices her for the Soul Stone and you see Thanos cry about it, that was very hard for me to watch. So yeah, that moment in Endgame was like, geez, they just killed one of the greatest female characters in cinematic history. So Hawkeye can get the Soul Stone and save the universe. Oh, holy shiz. That was that I was like, oh geez. There's so much I could go over, but like, another thing I really want to say about Endgame is that this is, I believe it's the longest running MCU film at 3 hours. The only MCU film that's over 3 hours. I think that's how long it is. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it really makes the most of its 3 hour runtime, A lot of people hate 3 hour movies because it's like, oh, they're so long. Like, they just can't just be more straight to the point. But no, this film truly utilizes its 3 hours. Like, that is a long... Yeah, it didn't feel like 3 hours. I mean, it kind of did, but, I was always on the edge of my seat because I knew it was at stake. I knew they had to do something to bring everyone back. And, they do. That's what happens. And, honestly, I was kind of turned off by the lack of action throughout this movie, in the middle of it, but the last fight scene definitely made up for that. I was, the action in Endgame is a little few and far between, so don't go into... So obviously those who haven't seen Endgame shouldn't be expecting too much action when going into it. But yeah, when they go back to the freaking, Stark or Avengers headquarters, they figure out, they get all the Infinity Stones to work, but then out of nowhere, you see the giant, Thanos ship obliterate their HQ. And, they're all trapped in the rubble, and they're trying to save the Infinity Stones. And Hawkeye, fires the explosive arrow. There's a very brief Aliens reference with all the Outriders, what are those, demon things called, chasing after him. He fires an arrow that sort of illuminates the whole room. It's that looks exactly like Aliens. One tradition I've seen in MCU is that they cut off someone's limb in every, MCU movie in honor of Star Wars. Because Star Wars, they cut someone's limb off in every movie. So now that I'm saying all this, I need to make another My Leg video, where every time someone loses a limb in a Marvel movie, someone yells, My Leg! So that means when Thanos gets his arm chopped off before his head gets chopped off in the beginning of the movie, he just yells, My Leg! Even though arms are not... Okay, guys, arms are hand legs. You're not changing my mind on that. We've all established this in my other videos I've made, but let's... that's a tangent for another night. And yeah, I was very, I was honestly concerned that they weren't going to have an epic final battle that I was really hoping that would have. But they did have it. And guys, I'm just going to spend the rest of this video talking about Endgame's end. You see the giant evil spaceships coming around to let everyone, all the demons and monsters and things loose. And all the bad guys like Thanos' children have come back. That includes Ebony Maw, a.k.a. Get Lost Squidward guy. The big glooky dude, whatever his name is, Thanos' children, and Thanos, he has, legions of bad guys under his hand. And you think everything is lost, but just, in the nick of time, you see, Captain America pick up the, Thor's hammer, I guess, because the way you earn, Mjolnir, or whatever the hammer is called, to the Norse gods, you have to deem yourself worthy, and Steve Rogers finally deemed himself worthy to wield it. And he got it, and everyone in the theater cheered. There were so many moments in this movie where everyone in the theater was just cheering and laughing and screeching. And guys, when Doctor Strange opens up the portals, the first hero you see come back to life is Black Panther. You see T'Challa with Okoye and Shuri and M'Baku by his side, and the legions of Wakandans just right behind him. Oh my gosh, you hear the Nibombe! Nibombe! Everyone, my heart was pounding out of my chest. I was flailing out of my seat. Or, I was about to just flop on the floor and just die of a heart attack right there. My heart was pounding and I was just yes, Wakanda forever. T'Challa is here. Then slowly but surely everybody else comes back. And next thing you know, these two Titanus armies. Right next to him, you see Doctor Strange and Wong in the Ancient One. Then next thing you see the Wasp. And then you see Peter Parker come back, Spider-Man and Bucky, and the Winter Soldier, and and Falcon, and everybody is just returned to just kick ass once and for all. And I was kind of surprised that they had Captain America say Avengers Assemble. I was expecting Iron Man to do that, but when he sees Avengers, then he just stares down Thanos, Assemble, and everyone just charges. And the action scenes, everything was so crisp. The beatdowns, a lot of people think that the whole final battle cliche is, it is cliche, the whole final battle scene, but it works because it's satisfying seeing just two blocks of guys just go head to head and just beat the hell out of each other. Especially when Star-Lord gets reunited with Gamora, he's like, I thought you were dead, and Gamora just knees him in the balls. It's like, yep, Gamora is still alive, all right. We're not changing that. And Captain Marvel returns when Thanos is ordering the rain of death onto everyone on the battlefield, including his own men. He's just blasting, and then you see Captain Marvel just come back to save the day, of course, because it's Captain Marvel. She saves the day. That's what she does. Just obliterates Thanos' ship, and she grabs the Infinity Gauntlet from Hawkeye. It's we need to get this out of here. And all the other Marvel ladies are just she's not alone. It's just that was just the scene in when Scarlet Witch, is has her back up against a wall with Thanos' daughter. It's you're gonna die alone. And Black Widow and Okoye come in and just oh, but she's not alone. They just kill her right there. And now we have all the Marvel ladies. That includes Iron Woman. I haven't seen Iron Man 3, so I can't really say for sure how Miss Potts is as, female Iron Lady, I guess you can call that. But yeah, that was great. Just all the badass Marvel ladies just together to kick more butt together. The whole battle was so perfect. It makes the Wakanda scene in Infinity War look like a playground skirmish between kids fighting each other with foam swords. That was, oh my goodness, the stakes were so high and everyone was beating each other up. And you see, Peter Parker reunited with Iron Man. It's Spider-Man, Uncle Ben died. He grew up without a father figure, and Iron Man has been the closest thing that he's had to a father this entire saga of movies. And just seeing them reunite and Iron Man just hugging him was so satisfying. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that they didn't have Spider-Man say, Mr. Stark, I feel great. I was kind of hoping that he would say that, but of course he didn't. Which, was expected. And yeah, then, things are fighting, and I forget how Iron Man tricks does a whole switcheroo on Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet. I want to say Doctor Strange time warped it or some sense like that. And Thanos says, I am inevitable, and snaps his fingers to kill everyone again. And when he does that, I was so freaked out. I was like, oh no, he's gonna win again. He's gonna obliterate everyone, just crumple and vanish in the dust, everybody again. But then he does so nothing happens, and he's confused. Then he sees all the Infinity Stones are gone. And thanks to nanotechnology on Iron Man's part, all the Infinity Stones are in Iron Man's hand now. He's just Thanos says, I am inevitable. And Tony Stark says, I am Iron Man. Snap! And yeah. Then Thanos and his kids, including Squidward, bye-bye Squidward, and all the Outriders and ghouls and things, they all just crumple out of existence as well. And it's so satisfying just seeing everyone just disintegrate. It's that was a very fitting send-off for Thanos. Josh Brolin does such a great job at, playing Thanos, guys. The guy, deserves a big clap. Big round of applause for Josh Brolin portraying Thanos. And, that was a very satisfying ending for him. Because part of what makes a great villain is how much you want to see their downfall. And yeah, ever since I saw him in Infinity War, I was just I want to see that dude just get obliterated. And he was, but it was subtle and at the same time. But the ending is bittersweet. And this is when people in the theater started crying. The only thing you could hear at the rest of the Endgame was people sniffling in the theater. I was almost one of them. Again, I have a thick skin. It takes a lot to get me to cry at movies. But this is when I was oh my gosh, they just killed Iron Man. You see him, die slowly, but peacefully at the same time. Now, that sounds counterintuitive. You can die, you can have a slow and painful death, but it can still be a peaceful one. Because you see that Iron Man, you see what he's been through. He started the whole MCU. The very first film, Iron Man, it started with Iron Man, and it ends with Iron Man. And he's just sitting there, being all like, "Oh yeah, we won," and you see Peter Parker losing another fatherly figure, like just crying, and I'm dumbfounded. Like the funeral scene was so well done as well. Like because Iron Man has a daughter out. After the whole time jump of 5 years, like he's married with Miss Potts and has kids. Oh, well, a daughter is one kid, and they like a basket of flowers flowing across the lake, saying in memory of Tony Stark, he did have a heart this entire time. And you see him grow so much, and the rest of the movie was like this is the return of the king for Marvel movies, guys. I truly believe that because the ending is so happy it drags, but it's a good dragging because you see everyone like resolving their differences, and Thor joins the Guardians of the Galaxy essentially, and they're gonna like travel. He's gonna travel with them on all their like space time adventures, get Gamora back now, and everyone sort of goes back to the way it once were. Hawkeye's reunited with his family, his wife, and his daughters, and his son as well. Yeah, I think he has 2 sons and a daughter. Like, I think he does. And they try doing a time travel experiment on Captain America, and they think it fails at first. It's like, oh, we're going to send him back in time. For us, it'll be 7 seconds. For him, it'll be as long as he needs to. And then you see Captain America just sitting there on the bench, being like, I did it. Like, he had the life he wanted to have, because he was frozen in 1945 and was, like, fought out 70 years later. That's so much of his life that he missed. But he's reunited with that sexy British lady from Captain America. I forget her name, please forgive me. But yeah, you see them having a satisfying life together, and he's old, and he's crumpled, and he gives his shield to Falcon. It's like, how's it feel? And Falcon's like it belongs to someone else's. But, like, again, that's bittersweet, too, because, Captain America and Iron Man, they're both donezo now, and it ends with him dancing in his lover's arms, and I'm just like, I know we're gonna continue MCU. I'm just asking myself, like, I can't help but ask this: how is the MCU gonna continue without Iron Man or Captain America? It's gonna be so interesting. Sad. Like, I'm sad these characters are gone. Honestly, guys, I still believe that if the MCU decided to end it off like this, if it just decided to stop making MCU movies after Endgame, I wouldn't be surprised, because there's no post-credits scenes in Endgame, because this feels like a final chapter. This feels like a conclusion. But, of course, they're gonna make fucking $3 billion off this movie, and, Spider-Man Far From Home is still coming out in July, and it's still got, like, 70 years of comics to plow through. And again, I am excited for Black Widow. That movie has been confirmed. It's going to be a prequel to, her story, which I'm very excited for, because finally she's getting her own movie. And yeah, again, I would hope to write this to, Marvel, like, could we see a movie about Hawkeye and all the adventures he's been on in that 5-year time span, being like a drug lord or whatever he was? That would be really interesting to watch as well. But yeah, like, also Stan Lee is a brief cameo as like a young driver when they time travel back to the 70s to, and also Iron Man meets his father, Howard Stark. I forgot to mention that. Jeez, that was also very sweet. It was a great moment as well. It's like, Tony Stark hugs his father, and his father doesn't know that that's his son. It's like, that he goes back in time to when, like, his wife is expecting. It's like, oh wow, his wife is expecting me. That's such a weird feeling. I would imagine that'd be super weird if I went back in time to, like, my dad when he was my age, or my dad when he was in his early 40s, and my mother was pregnant with me or my sister. Jeez, that'd be quite something, I'm telling you. So that's relatable as well. And yeah, I feel like I've talked enough about spoilers for Endgame, guys. This movie now automatically is like my second favorite MCU movie. First being the first Avengers. That is my top 5 favorite movies of all time, guys. I'm sorry, I cannot in good conscience put that as my favorite MCU film. I don't see that changing anytime soon. Like, I don't see it changing ever, in all honesty. But yeah, Endgame is one of the 2 MCU movies to get a 10 out of 10 stars on my part, and I still feel very confident in my feelings towards that. Because Infinity War, I was so perplexed by the ending of Thanos just killing everyone with, just snap of his fingers. I couldn't even give that film a rating until, like, I watched it a second time on DVD and could finally digest my feelings. So yeah, Endgame, guys, is like the how-to guide to wrap up a cinematic universe. And I cannot wait for this movie to come out on Blu-ray so I can just buy it and watch it like another 20 times and just digest my feelings even more. And yeah, Stan Lee is really smiling from the heavens with this, work. I definitely believe that. And yeah, that's my spoiler talk for Endgame. Did like for those of you like I know some of you. I mean, if you haven't seen Endgame yet, I'm wondering why you're still watching this video. But like, yeah, tell me what do you guys? Where is Endgame amongst your favorite Marvel movies? Is it in your top 5, top 2, top 3, top 10, top 20? Like, oh my goodness, 22 MCU movies. Like, where is Endgame in that whole list? Let me know in the comments down below, please, guys. And subscribe to my channel. My voice is pretty tired. It's almost 1 in the morning. Jeez, I got some editing to do. Yeah. Thank you guys a lot for watching. And if you enjoyed, give it a thumbs up. And like I said earlier, like, comment, subscribe. That's all much appreciated. And yeah, I don't have much of the school year left. I mean, I have like 2 weeks of classes, then it's finals week, then summertime. Jeez, I'm almost halfway done with college. I'm getting old. All right, thanks a lot, guys. Have a nice night.